How did Islam begin? Let's dive into this incredible story in just 10 minutes. Imagine traveling back in time with me to a land far, far away. Makkah, Arabia, around the year 570. Makkah is famous for two major reasons. First, it's home to the Kaaba, an ancient temple built to worship God. And second, it's where Muhammad, peace be upon him, was born. Now, here's a twist. I can't show you what Muhammad looked like, and there's a very important reason for that, which I'll explain in a bit. But for now, here's his name in Arabic. Cool, right? Back in those days, Makkah was a wild, lawless place. The only way to survive was to have powerful allies, big brothers with muscle who could protect you. The most powerful families ruled the city and did whatever they pleased. Religion wasn't much help either, since the Kaaba was overflowing with 360 idols that did nothing for anyone. Growing up here was tough, especially if, like Muhammad, you were a poor orphan who believed in just one God, a God you couldn't see, just like the Jews and Christians. Muhammad called him Allah, the God, in Arabic. Life wasn't easy for Muhammad. His father died before he was born, and his mother passed away when he was just 6. Raised by his grandfather Abdul Muttalib and later by his uncle Abu Talib, who had the respect of Makkah's ruling families, Muhammad had some protection. He started out as a shepherd, then became a businessman, traveling and trading for wealthy clients. One day, he did some work for a rich widow named Khadijah. She was so impressed by his honesty and skill that they ended up getting married. Things seemed to be looking up for Muhammad, but life had other plans. Every year during the month of Ramadan, Makkah would host a massive celebration at the Kaaba, where people offered sacrifices to the idols. Muhammad hated this, so he'd escape to a cave on a nearby mountain to pray. Then one night, something extraordinary happened. While Muhammad was deep in prayer, the angel Jibreel, known to some as Gabriel, appeared before him. "Read," said the angel. But Muhammad couldn't read. Schools were scarce in those days. Jibreel insisted, and after the third command, something amazing occurred. Muhammad suddenly knew the words by heart and recited, "Read in the name of your Lord, who created man from a drop of blood. Read, for your Lord is most generous. He who taught by the pen taught man what he did not know." This was a message from Allah. But back to that special night, now known as the Night of Power. After this divine encounter, Muhammad shared the message with his family, friends, and eventually the whole community. But not everyone was thrilled. The powerful families of Makkah were furious. You see, Islam means obedience to Allah, and Muslim means someone who obeys Allah. The ruling families weren't keen on anyone obeying someone other than them. Those who embraced Muhammad's message, the Muslims, faced brutal persecution. Some were tortured, and others were even killed. A few managed to flee to Abyssinia, modern-day Ethiopia, but most were trapped in Makkah. Muhammad himself suffered greatly, losing his wife, and then, just weeks later, his uncle. Feeling devastated, he went to the Kaaba to pray one night, and something incredible happened again. The angel Jibreel appeared, placed Muhammad on a winged horse called Al-Buraq, and they flew to Jerusalem. There, Muhammad prayed with all the prophets who had ever lived, was taken up to the heavens, and even visited paradise, where Allah instructed him to pray 5 times a day and stay strong. This event, known as the night journey, boosted Muhammad's spirits, which was just as well because more challenges lay ahead. Another city called Yathrib had heard about Muhammad and his message and invited him and his followers to join them. Slowly, the Muslims left Makkah, making the dangerous journey across the desert to Yathrib, an event known as the Hijrah, meaning migration. Muhammad and his closest companions stayed behind until the last moment, planning their escape. The ruling families, however, had other ideas. They plotted to kill Muhammad, sending assassins to his house, but Muhammad outsmarted them and escaped just in time. He and his best friend, Abu Bakr, hid in a cave, praying they wouldn't be found. The trackers arrived at the cave's entrance, but were fooled by a spider's web and a nesting bird. They thought no one could be inside, and left, leaving Muhammad and Abu Bakr unharmed. Muhammad safely reached Yathrib, which was renamed Medina, the city of the Prophet. But the challenges didn't stop there. The Muslims faced three major battles with the Makkans. The Battle of Badr, where they miraculously won despite being outnumbered, the Battle of Uhud, which they lost due to disobedience, and the Battle of the Trench, where the Muslims cleverly dug a trench around Medina, forcing the Maccan army to retreat in defeat. These victories attracted more tribes to join the Muslims. Eventually, a peace treaty was signed, but the Maccans broke it, prompting Muhammad to take action. With an army of over 10,000 men, he marched to Makkah. The ruling families realized they were out of options and surrendered, expecting the worst. But Muhammad, ever merciful, declared an end to the fighting. He entered the Kaaba, circled it 7 times, and smashed the idols, rededicating the Kaaba to Allah. And that's why I can't show you Muhammad. Muslims don't depict him to avoid any chance of idol worship. And they don't depict Allah either because he's beyond anything on earth. So there you have it, how Islam began in just under 10 minutes. How did I do?